Okay, let's continue our discussion. So we are now on number 51 of our rationalization. Okay, for number 51 question, so polyspecific EHG reagent contains A, anti-IgG, B, anti-IgG and anti-IgM, anti-IgG and anti-C3D, or letter D, anti-C3D only. So for number 51, the correct answer would be letter C. We have the anti-IgG and anti-C3D. So from the term poly-specific, di ba pag poly, more than one, madami po ito. Kasi kapag mono-specific, isa lang. So for polyspecific AHG reagent, it contains anti-IgG and anti-C3D. So we have polyspecific AHG reagent, polyspecific AHG reagent, and we have the monospecific AHG reagent. So for polyspecific AHG reagent, we have anti-IgG and anti-C3D. And it is prepared by conventional technique. So nakukuha po ito usually sa rabbits. Kapag monospecific AHG naman, we have anti-IgG or anti-C3D. So nakita niyo po yung difference, no? Yung polyspecific, ginamit natin yung word na "and". Kasi both anti-IgG and anti-C3D, nasa polyspecific AHG reagent po yan. Pero sa monospecific AHG reagent, or yung ginamit nating word, kasi it's either anti-IgG or anti-C3D, yung nandoon sa ating reagent. And it is prepared by monoclonal antibody production, usually sa mice. Di ba naturuan ko na kayo before kung paano gumawa po ng mga monoclonal antibody. So sa mice po natin yon na prepare. Okay, next number 52. So anticoagulant used to collect blood samples for the direct AHG test, or that, to avoid in vitro complement attachment associated with refrigerated collected specimen. So A, heparin, B, EDTA, C, citrate, or letter D, oxalate. Okay, for number 52, the correct answer, we have letter B, EDTA. So EDTA, yan po yung ginagamit natin, no, for direct AHG test or the DAT. So again, for the DAT, ang ginagamit po natin is EDTA. Yan po yung nakalagay sa ating purple or lavender top. Kapag naman indirect AHG test, ang ginagamit po nating specimen is serum. Okay? Serum po. Usually sa red top po ito. Sa red top or sa gold top. So again, ang purpose po kung bakit natin ginagamit yung EDTA for direct AHG test is to avoid in vitro complement attachment associated with refrigerated and clotted specimen. So yun po ang reason, no, kung bakit EDTA. Question number 53. So to demonstrate whether the antibodies have become attached, this patient's red cell in vivo, so which of the following tests would be useful? So direct antiglobulin test, complement fixation, elution procedure, or indirect antiglobulin test. For number 53, our keyword is the term in vivo. Okay, in vivo attachment po. For number 53, the correct answer would be letter A. We have the direct antiglobulin test. Okay? Again, na-discuss na rin to before no sa ating immunology and serology lecture. Kapag direct antiglobulin test, ito po yung in vivo sensitization. In vivo sensitization of the red blood cells. Kapag naman po in vitro in vitro sensitization of our red cells, yan po yung ating indirect antiglobulin test. Again, yung ating direct antiglobulin test, yan po yung easiest and the quickest way to detect in vivo sensitization of the red blood cells. Pinakamabilis at pinakamadaling test po para malaman natin yung in vivo sensitization ng ating mga red blood cells. We have the direct antiglobulin test. And yung indirect naman po, ginagamit natin to detect in vitro sensitization of the red blood cells and is most commonly used in antibody detection tests and cross-matching. So again, itong ayat, most commonly used po ito for antibody detection. Antibody detection and cross-matching. So bakit nakakapag-detect tayo ng antibody sa indirect antiglobulin test? Kasi ang specimen natin is serum. Di ba? Serum po ang ating specimen for the indirect antiglobulin test. Next, question number 54. So all of the following are enhancement media for AHG testing, except so albumin, polyethylene glycol or PEG, normal saline, or letter D, we have the LISS. So for question number 54, the correct answer would be, we have letter C. So normal saline solution po. So hindi po natin ginagamit na enhancement media for AHG testing ang normal saline solution. Okay, itong albumin, ginagamit natin siya in the form of 22% BSA. So ano po ba ibig sabihin ng BSA? Ito po yung bovine serum albumin. So ginagamit natin siya as enhancement media for AHG testing in the form of 22% BSA or bovine serum albumin. Okay, next we have polyethylene glycol. So yung polyethylene glycol or PEG, mas sensitive po ito kung i-compare natin sa LISS and albumin. More sensitive. More sensitive than LISS and albumin. And letter D, LISS. So ano po ba ibig sabihin ng LISS? We have low ionic strength solution. Low ionic strength solution. So yung ating low ionic strength solution, ito po yung fastest. Ito po yung merong fastest incubation time na 10 to 15 minutes. Again, it has fastest incubation time of 10 to 15 minutes. Yan po yung important info natin about LISS o low ionic strength solution. It has fastest incubation time. So again, yung LISS, yung polyethylene glycol, albumin. So i-add na rin po natin si polybrin. Bali, 4 po sila, polybrin. LISS, polyethylene glycol, yung polybrin, and albumin can all be used as enhancement media po for anti-human globulin testing. And bawat isa po sa kanila, meron po silang advantage and disadvantages. Again, ang advantage po ng paggamit ng LISS, ito po yung fastest. Ito po yung merong fastest incubation time. Ang advantage naman po ng polyethylene glycol, it is more sensitive po kung i-compare natin sa iba pang mga enhancement media for AHG testing. Okay, low ionic strength solution or LISS or low salt media generally contain blank sodium chloride. Kasi meron tayong normal saline solution at LISS. So yung LISS, mas mababa po yung concentration ng kanyang salt kung i-compare natin sa normal saline solution. So gaano kaya kakonti? So for number 55, the correct answer would be letter A, 0.2% po ng sodium chloride. Yan po yung concentration ng sodium chloride na nasa LiSS. So again, LiSS, it contains reduced concentration po ng sodium chloride, 0.2%. And dahil po mababa yung levels na kanyang sodium chloride, it results in a reduction in charged ion within the ionic cloud, decreasing the zeta potential and facilitating antigen and antibody interaction. So again, ang purpose po kung bakit mababa po yung levels ng ating sodium chloride here in LiSS is para pababain din po yung zeta potential, to decrease the zeta potential and facilitating antigen-antibody reaction. So yun po yung purpose ng ating LiSS. Okay, number 56. So check cells or the Coombs control. Ang tawag po natin sa check cells or the Coombs control. So ano po ba sila? So A, added to every negative antiglobulin test, added to negative direct antiglobulin test only, used to confirm a positive Coombs reaction, or letter D, coated with both IgM and C3d. So for number 56, the correct answer is letter A. So added to every negative antiglobulin test. So para saan po ba ang check cells or Coombs control? So ginagamit po natin ang check cells or Coombs control to ensure that AHG reagent was added doon sa ating specimen and is active. Yan po yung purpose ng ating check cells or Coombs control, to ensure that the AHG reagent was added and is active. Active, so hindi pa po siya expired. Yun po yung purpose ng ating check cells or Coombs control. At ang purpose po niyan, ina-add po natin yan sa ating mga negative antiglobulin test. Negative antiglobulin test. Sa check cells or Coombs cells, kapag po nagkaroon ng agglutination, so presence of agglutination, it indicates a valid result. Ibig sabihin valid po yung result natin if ever magkakaroon ng agglutination doon sa ating reaction. So yun po yung answer natin for number 56 question. Number 57. So what should be done if all the forward and reverse ABO results are negative? So A, perform additional testing such as typing with anti-A1 and anti-AB, incubate at 22 degrees Celsius or 4 degrees Celsius to enhance weak expression. Letter C, repeat the test with new reagents. And letter D, run an antibody identification panel. Okay, for number 57, the correct answer is letter B, incubate at 22 degrees Celsius or 4 degrees Celsius to enhance weak expression. Yun po yung reason, yun po yung gagawin natin if all the forward and reverse ABO results are negative. So kailangan lang po natin itong i-incubate at 22 degrees Celsius or 4 degrees Celsius para ma-enhance yung mga weak expression. So marami po tayong reason kung bakit nagkakaroon ng negative reaction doon sa ating forward and reverse ABO typing. So usually, na-observe natin yan sa group 1 discrepancy. Di ba meron tayong iba't ibang types ng discrepancy sa blood banking. So yung group 1 discrepancy, ano po yung mga possible cause? Possible na yung group O na newborn. Di ba kapag mga newborn, hindi pa sila nagpo-produce ng antibodies or sa mga elderly patient. For example, type O, we have anti-A and anti-B. Di negative sila, di ba? Negative. Since type O nga po yung ating mga newborns. Tapos, chinek natin yung reverse typing for A cells and B cells. Since sa mga newborns po, hindi pa naman sila nagpo-produce ng antibody, so magne-negative din po sila for the reverse typing. So yun po yung mangyayari na sa mga newborns natin. Lahat ng forward and reverse reaction is they are negative. So usually nangyayari po yan sa mga group O newborn or elderly patient. And patient may have agammaglobulinemia or hypogammaglobulinemia, and patient may be taking immunosuppressive drugs. So ano po yung resolution natin for that? So check mo muna yung age. So kapag newborn, so magne-negative talaga siya sa ating reverse typing. And kapag hindi naman siya newborn, check natin yung diagnosis ng patient and immunoglobulin levels. And if possible, incubate at room temperature for 30 minutes or at 4 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. So ano yung purpose? Bakit natin kailangang i-incubate sa room temperature or refrigerator temperature? Sabi nga kanina, para po ma-enhance yung mga weak reaction. Yun po yung purpose kung bakit natin i-incubate at 4 degrees Celsius or 30 minutes. So to enhance weak reaction or weak expression ng ating mga antibody. Okay, number 58. Question number 58. So which of the following distinguishes A1 from A2? So A2 antigen will not react with anti-A. A1 will strongly act for plus. B, an A2 person may form anti-A1 and an A1 person will not form anti-A1. C, an A1 person may form anti-A2 and A2 person will not form anti-A1. And letter D, A2 antigen will not react with anti-A from a non-immunized donor, and A1 will react with any anti-A. So for this one, the correct answer po we have letter B. A2 antigen will not react with anti-A. Sorry, letter B. An A2 person may form anti-A1 and an A1 person will not form anti-A1. So yun po yung difference between A1 and A2. The correct answer is letter B. So bakit hindi po letter A? A2 antigen will not react with anti-A and A1 will strongly react. So check natin to yung ating mga anti-A reagent and anti-A1. Kung magkaiba po yung anti-A na reagent doon sa ating anti-A1. At meron tayong A1 person at A2. So, yung mga A1 individual, magpo-positive sila sa anti-A. Sorry? At yung A2 individual, magpo-positive din naman sila sa anti-A. So, pakitandaan po yan, both A1 and A2, magpo-positive sila sa anti-A. Pero mas strong po strong yung reaction ni A1 kung i-compare natin sa A2. So 20% po 20% ng mga individual is A2 at 80% naman po ng population positive sa A1 sa anti-A. What about anti-A1? Sa anti-A1, magpo-positive lang si A1, yung mga A1 individual, at magne-negative naman po yung mga A2 individual sa anti-A1. So check natin to, no? A2 antigen will not react with anti-A. So yung A2 daw, hindi mag-react sa anti-A. Mali na po agad. Kasi yung A2 antigen, mag-react nga po siya sa anti-A. Di ba sabi ko kanina that 20% of our population is magpo-positive sa anti-A against A2. And A1 will strongly react for plus. So tama naman siya. Yung A1 may strong reaction against anti-A. Pero yung A2, mag-react po siya. Hindi siya mag-react, no? Will not react. Hindi siya will not react. Dapat will react with anti-A. So mali na po yung letter A. Letter C. Check natin yung letter C. An A1 person may form anti-A2. So wala po tayong anti-A2, no? There's no such thing as anti-A2. Meron tayong anti-A, meron tayong anti-A1, pero wala po tayong anti-A2. There's no such thing as anti-A2. So mali na agad si letter C. And letter D, A2 antigen will not react with any form, with any anti-A from a non-immunized donor. So check natin, no, A2 antigen will not react daw with anti-A. So mali ulit to. Kasi same lang to with statement letter A. Ang A2 antigen, mag-react po siya, no? Mag-react ang A2 antigen with anti-A. At yung A1 naman, mag-react siya with any anti-A. So tama tong second statement, mali yung first statement. So mali din yung first statement na doon sa ating letter A. Kasi nga, ang A2 antigen, mag-react siya with anti-A. So, yun pa yung answer natin for question number 58. So, i-add ko lang, no? I-add ko lang po ito. Okay, ano po ba yung antigen na present in A1 individual? So, meron tayong A and A1. Tapos yung mga antigen naman, antigen na present in A2 individual, we have A only. A only. Again, antigen present in A1 individual, we have A and A1. And antigen present in A2, we have A only. A only. That's why yung ating A2 individual, hindi po sila nag-react sa ating anti-A1 na reagent. Hindi po sila nag-react, no, sa anti-A1 na reagent. Again, A1, nagpa-positive or yung 80% ng ating population is A. At yung remaining 20% naman ng ating population, sila naman po yung mga A2. Mga A2. So yun po yung mga important information natin about number 58 question. Okay, number 59. So, an ABO type on patient gives the following reaction. So, the reaction above may be caused. So, sa anti-A, 4 plus. Sa anti-B, negative. Tapos, sa anti-A and B, 4 plus naman siya. Sa E1 cells, negative. B cells, 4 plus. Sa O cells, 3 plus. So, check natin, no? So, ito yung kanyang forward reaction. Yung forward reaction. So, ibig sabihin, anti-A positive, anti-B negative. So, possible na A. A yung blood type ng ating donor. And sa E1 cells, itong A1, ito po yung reverse. Tapos, itong B cells and O cells, ito yung mga reverse po natin din. B cells, reverse reaction. So, nag-negative sa E1 cells. Again, E1 cells, ito po yung ating reverse reaction. No? So, kapag nag-negative sa E1 cells sa reverse, automatic, E1 po siya. Patient is E1. Pero check pa natin yung ibang resulta. Tapos sa O cells, 3 plus. 3 plus siya sa O cells. So for this one, ang answer po natin, no, we have patient is A1 with potent anti-age. Yan po yung answer natin, no? So nagkaroon po siya ng potent anti-age kasi nag-positive po siya dito sa ating O cells. So yun po ano yung question number 59. Okay, next number 16. So which of the following is the most common haplotype in the African American population? Okay, we have the DCE, big D, big C, small e. So galing ko siya basahin ano. We have big D, small c, big E, big D, small c, and small e. Or letter D, small c, and small e. So for this one, the correct answer would be letter C po, big D, small c, and small e. Yan po yung ating answer for number 62 question. So meron po tayong tinatawag no na Fisher race and shorthand. So for the Fisher race, meron tayong DCE, big D, small c, small e. Big D, big C, and small e. Big D, small c, and big E, and big D, big C, and big E. So yung shorthand po nila, ito pong first, we have RO. Yung second, we have R1. The third one is the R2. And the last one, we have RZ. Yan po yung shorthand nila, no? For the Fisher race classification. Fisher race classification. So itong ating DCE, big D, small c, and small e, ibig sabihin, RO po sila. RO. So RO. So bakit ko sinabi yung Fisher race, pati na rin po yung kanilang shorthand? Kasi sa mga Asians nga po, ito yung common no sa mga African American population. Yan po yung common. Sa mga Asians, ito naman po ang common, pakitandaan. Pero hindi lang po sa mga Asians, pati na rin po sa mga white and sa mga Native Americans. Native Americans. So DCE, big D, big C, and small e. Ito po yung common sa mga white, sa mga Asian, and Native Americans. Native Americans. So yung palatandaan ko dyan is yung 1, W-A-N. Lumabas po kasi sa board exam to, no? Kaya meron siyang mnemonics, yung 1. Yung DCE, big D, small c, and big D, big C, and small e, usually na-observe sila sa 1. Yan po yung mga whites. 42% ng mga whites merong ganyang haplotype. And 70% ng mga Asians, ito po yung kanilang haplotype. And sa mga Native Americans, 44%. 44%. So para saan yung 1 na mnemonic? Yan nga po yung white, Asians, and Native Americans. Aside po doon, yung shorthand po ano ng DCE is R1. R1. So bali, double purpose yung mnemonic na yon. Yung 1 na WAN for whites, Asians, and Native Americans at yung 1 for the shorthand. Kasi R1 po ang shorthand ng haplotype na big D, big C, and small e. So yun po yung number na 60 na question. So I hope na-gets po ninyo no, yung ginagamit ko mnemonic for number 16. Okay, number 61. So if a patient who is R1 is transfused with RBC that are ROR, so which antibody is he most likely to produce? So again, sasalinan daw ng R1, R1 or sasalinan daw ng ROR yung patient na R1, R1. So again, yung ating donor is ROR. Tapos yung ating recipient or patient is R1, R1. R1, R1. So again, yung RO, ano po ba yung RO? Ano po ba ang haplotype sa Fisheries classification ng RO? Diba for RO, nasabi natin kanina, we have big D, small c, and small e. While yung R lang, okay, yung R lang, we have small d, small c, and small e. What about R1, R1? So yung R1, R1, nabanggit na natin kanina, no? Big D, big C, and small e. And yung another R1, we have big D, small c, and big D, big C, and small e. Yan po yung ating fisheries classification for the patient R1, R1. So pakitandaan din pala, no, ano ba ibig sabihin ng small r? So yung small r, ibig sabihin po nun na wala pong D antigen. Small r, it denotes absence of the D antigen. It denotes the absence of the antigen. Okay, check natin to, no, yung ating donor at yung patient. Okay, yung donor is merong D, meron siyang big D. So meron ding big D yung ating patient. So okay lang kasi parehas naman silang may big D. Next, yung donor natin may small e. So meron ding small e yung ating patient. Kaya okay lang din. So hindi naman magkakaroon ng reaction since parehas naman silang may small e. Pero yung ating donor, meron siyang small c. So meron siyang small c. Meron bang small c yung ating patient? So wala pong small c yung ating pasyente. So kapag na-transfuse natin yung small c na yan doon sa ating patient, magpo-produce po siya ng anti-C. Yun po yung ibig sabihin, ano, hahanapin natin yung meron sa donor na wala doon sa pasyente. Kapag meron yung donor at meron yung pasyente, yun po yung antibody na ipoproduce niya against that particular antigen. For example, merong C antigen dito. Kapag na-transfuse yung C antigen doon sa pasyenteng walang C antigen, magpo-produce po siya ng anti-C. So yun po yung ibig sabihin ng number 61 question. Number 61 question. So I hope nagets po natin no yung number 61. Number 62. So which of the following is the most common antibody seen in the blood bank after ABO and RH antibodies? So A, anti-Duffy A, anti-small k, anti-JSA, or letter D, anti-big K. So for number 62, the correct answer would be letter D. You have the anti-K. Yan po yung most common antibody seen in the blood bank after ABO and RH antibody. So again, yung most common antibody is the ABO blood group system, followed by the RH antibody, and the next one is the K. Yan po yung pagkakasunod-sunod nila, no, when it comes to the number po ano in blood bank testing. Okay, number 63. So RBCs that have been leukoreduced must contain less than blank leukocytes and retain at least blank of original red blood cells. Okay, for number 63, the correct answer po, we have letter B. 5 times 10 raised to 6 and 85%. So again, RBC that have been leukoreduced must contain less than 5 times 10 raised to 6 of the leukocytes and retain at least 85% of the original red blood cells. Okay, ito yung ating leukocyte reduced na red blood cells. Leukocyte reduced na red blood cells. Leukocyte reduced na red blood cells. So ito po yung indication niya. Increased RBC mass in patient with severe on and or recurrent febrile transfusion reaction due to leukocyte antibodies. So increased RBC mass in patient at risk for HLA alloimmunization to HLA antigen or susceptible to CMV. And absolute WBC count in the unit is reduced to less than 5 times 10 raised to 6 and contains at least 85% of the original RBC mass. Kasi po, kapag nagkakaroon tayo ng leukoreduction or inaalis natin yung mga WBC count, no, hindi naman 100% na mawawala po yung mga WBC. So meron pa rin naiiwan. So dapat yung ating leukoreduce na WBC na blood component, dapat yung kanyang WBC count is less than 5 times 10 raised to 6. Dapat hindi po lalagpas doon. Kasi kapag lalagpas sa 5 times 10 raised to 6, hindi natin yun mako-consider as a leukoreduce. Madami pa din siya. Dapat mas mababa po sa 5 times 10 raised to 6. At kapag tinanggal natin yung mga leukocytes or yung mga white blood cells, hindi naman po maiiwasan na pati yung mga red cells masasama. So, acceptable po ang ating leukoreduce na red blood cell if 85% ng original RBC mass is na-retain. Kasi kapag less than 80% lang or less than 85%, yung na-retain doon sa ating blood bag, so hindi po siya acceptable as leukoreduced red blood cell. Again, 5 times 10 raised to 6 and contains at least 85% of the original RBC mass. And for the temperature, dapat po 1 to 6 degrees Celsius or refrigerator temperature. And the shelf life, it depends on the anticoagulant. So marami tayong anticoagulant, di ba, na ginagamit? So depende po kung alin doon. And kapag open system naman po na process yung ating leukoreduced RBC, 24 hours naman po yung kanyang shelf life. So naulit lang po ito yung ating rationale for number 63 question. So medyo magulo yung ating number 64. Pero meron naman kayong notes dyan na doble yung aking pagka-copy-paste. According to the AABB standard, 75% of all platelet paresis units shall contain how many platelets per UL? So the answer for that is letter B po, letter B, 3.0 times 10 raised to 11. Kasi yung letter A, ito pong 5.5 times 10 raised to 10, ito po naman yung sa random donor platelet. So again, kapag paresis, yan po yung ating single donor platelet. Pero kapag na-prepare po through centrifugation, yan po yung ating random donor platelet. So magkaiba po yung content ng kanilang platelets. Pag RDP, random donor platelet, 5.5 times 10 raised to 10. Kapag naman po we have letter B, yung 3.0 times 10 raised to 11, yan naman po yung for single donor unit. Okay, number 65. So hindi ko alam kung ano nangyari dito sa presentation ko. But nagka-doble-doble yung mga words. Pero sige, may copy naman po kayo dyan para mas mabasa nyo po ng maayos. Number 65, a whole blood donor currently on clopidogrel or Plavix is precluded from donating which product? Okay, Plavix daw, kapag nag-take daw ng clopidogrel or Plavix yung isang pasyente. So anong blood product daw yung hindi po niya pwedeng i-donate? So for number 65, the correct answer is platelets po, we have platelets. Okay, i-add ko lang to, no? 14 days na referral, 14 days na deferral kapag nag-intake ng clopidogrel. Clopidogrel or Flavex. Kapag aspirin po, kapag aspirin naman yung tinake, 2 days. 2 days naman ang deferral. Okay? Okay, 14 days na deferral kapag clopidogrel at 2 days na deferral kapag aspirin. 2 days deferral kapag aspirin. So that's for number 65 na question. Okay, number 66. Which of the following blood components is the best source of the factor 9? Factor 9. So A, prothrombin complex. Letter B, cryoprecipitated antihemophilic factor. C, fresh frozen plasma. O letter D, the single donor plasma. Okay, for number 66, the correct answer would be letter A po ito. We have the prothrombin complex. Letter A po ano for number 66 question. Kasi kung maaalala po natin sa ating hematology, meron tayong iba't ibang groups, di ba? Meron tayong contact group, we have the contact group, we have the fibrinogen group, and the prothrombin group. The prothrombin group. Okay. For the contact group, we have 12, 11, 9, and 8. For fibrinogen group, we have 1, 5, 8, and 13. For the prothrombin group, we have 2, 7, 9, and 10. So I'm sorry. For the contact group, we have 12, 11, high molecular weight kininogen, and the prekallikrein. Yan po pala yung ating contact group. Kasi in 12, 11, 9, 8, yan pala yung sa intrinsic factor. So again, contact group, 12, 11, high molecular weight kininogen, and prekallikrein. Fibrinogen, 1, 5, 8, and 13. And prothrombin group, we have 2, 7, 9, 10. So nasaan po ba ang factor 9? Di ba under siya ng prothrombin group. So ang best source po ano ng factor 9 is the prothrombin complex group. Kasi yung ating prothrombin complex group, meron po itong factors 2, 7, 9, and 10. And yung itong cryoprecipitated na antihemophilic factor, usually factor 8 po ito. Factor 8. Kapag naman fresh frozen plasma, parang ito yung second option kapag hindi available yung prothrombin complex. Kasi sa fresh frozen plasma, almost all coagulation factors are present. Yan po ano yung fresh frozen plasma natin. Okay, number 67. So hives and itching are symptoms of which of the following transfusion reaction? So febrile, circulatory overload, allergic, or anaphylactic reaction. So alin po kaya dyan yung symptoms po ano ng saan po natin ma-observe yung symptoms na hives and itching? For number 67, the correct answer is allergic. So marami tayong tawag no doon sa ating allergic transfusion reaction. At isa nga po doon is yung urticarial. Urticarial or allergic transfusion reaction. Again, urticarial or allergic transfusion reaction occurs as a response of the recipient antibodies to an allergen present in the blood component. So kapag po merong allergen, yung blood component, so magkakaroon po ng response no, yung recipient antibody. And ALTR or allergic transfusion reaction can range from minor urticarial effects to fulminant anaphylactic shock and death. So yun po yung possible na mangyari sa isang taong magkaroon ng ALPR from simpleng urticarial or hives lang, so magkakaroon po ng anaphylactic shock or even yung worst case po, we have death. So yung signs and symptoms, we have hives and wheals, itching, erythema, or pruritus. And for the prevention and treatment, we have use wash RBC and administer antihistamine. So yan po yung prevention and treatment natin for urticarial and allergic transfusion reaction. Question number 68. So rejuvenation of a unit of red blood cell is a method used to A, remove antibody attached to red blood cells, inactive viruses and bacteria, restore 2,3-DPG and ATP to normal levels, or letter D, filter clots and other debris. So yung rejuvenation po ng unit for the red blood cell, is a method po ito to Okay, it is a method to restore 2,3-DPG and ATP to normal levels. Yan po yung process ng rejuvenation. Okay, rejuvenation. Rejuvenation solution. Rejuvenation solution used in some blood centers to regenerate. So ano po yung nire-regenerate natin? To regenerate ATP and 2,3-DPG. Yan po yung na-regenerate natin sa ating rejuvenation process, yung adenosine triphosphate and 2,3-DPG or BPG. So red cells in the liquid state for fewer than 3 days after their outdate are rejuvenated. Pakitandaan, fewer than 3 days. So pwede lang i-rejuvenate ang isang blood product if ever na-expire sila 3 days after, okay? And are rejuvenated for 1 to 4 hours at 37 degrees Celsius with the solution. And Rejubisol, the only FDA-approved rejuvenation solution is the Rejuvisol. Rejuvisol. Yan po yung only FDA-approved rejuvenation solution, Rejuvisol. And we have PIGPA and PIPA. So PIGPA, we have phosphate, the inosine, glucose, pyruvate, and adenine. Yan po yung ating PIGPA. And for the PIPA, we have phosphate, inosine, pyruvate, and adenine. Next, number 69. So which of the following transfusion reaction occurs after infusion of only a few milliliters of blood and gives no history of fever? So yun po yung keyword natin, no history of fever. Wala daw history ng lagnat. So pwede din nating alisin si febrile kasi nga no history of fever nga daw. For number 69, the correct answer would be anaphylactic. Anaphylactic po yung correct answer natin. So ito pong circulatory overload, ito yung tinatawag nating transfusion-induced hypervolemia. Transfusion-induced hypervolemia. Yan po yung ating circulatory overload. Transfusion-induced hypervolemia. Okay, next. Question number 17. So a lectin with anti-N specificity can be made from, so A, Banderea simplicifolia, Dolichos biflorus, Emeas Eberis amara, or Vicia graminea. So for number 17, the correct answer is letter D po. We have Vicia graminea. So Banderea Simplicifolia, ito po yung source natin ng anti-B-lectin. Banderia simplicifolia. Dolichos biflorius, ito naman po yung source ng anti-A1 lectin. And Iberis amara, ito naman yung source ng anti-M. And kapag anti-N, yan po yung source ng Vicia graminea. Vicia graminea. Okay, for the lectin reagents, we have Dolichos biflorus. Ito po yung source natin ng anti-A1 lectin. Then next we have Ulex europaeus. Ulex europaeus. So Ulex europaeus, ito po yung source naman ng anti-H lectin. Banderia simplicifolia, source of anti-B lectin. And Iberis amara. Iberis amara, source of anti-M lectin. And Vicia graminea. Vicia graminea, ito naman po yung source ng ating anti-N lectin. So pakitandaan po ano yung ating mga sources of our lectin reagents. Number 71. So if the seal is entered on a unit of whole blood stored at 1 to 6 degrees Celsius, so what is the maximum allowable storage period in hours? So 6, 48, 24, or 72. So for number 71, the correct answer would be letter C. So we have 24 hours. 24 hours. So when we say if the seal is entered on a unit, ibig sabihin po nun na process po ito ng open system. Diba kapag ang mga blood products po natin is na process ng open system, ang maximum allowable storage period na lang po sa kanila is 24 hours. Pakitandaan po yan no, kapag open system. Number 72. So which of the following medication is most likely to cause production of autoantibodies? So A, penicillin, B, cephalosporin, C, metildopa, or letter D, phenacetin. Okay, for number 72, we have letter C, metildopa. So, drug absorption. Penicillin po yan. Drug absorption. We have penicillin. Then cephalosporin is for membrane modification. And phenacetin for immune complexes. So please take note, penicillin, drug absorption. And cephalosporin is for membrane modification, and phenacetin is for immune complexes. So again, metildopa. So ang metildopa po is frequently listed as the prototype for drug-independent antibody mechanism where autoantibody is present on the red cell, pero pwede rin naman itong present sa ating mga plasma, yung mga antibodies po na yun. Okay, number 73, the mechanism that explains hemolytic anemia due to penicillin is A, drug absorption, B, membrane modification, C, immune complex formation, or letter D, autoantibody production. So for number 73, the correct answer po, the correct answer would be letter A. We have drug absorption. So again, the mechanism that explains hemolytic anemia due to penicillin is drug absorption. So aside po kay penicillin, yung meron pong ability, no, o yung mechanism na drug absorption, we have streptomycin and the cephalosporin. Streptomycin and cephalosporin. Yan po yung mga drugs na meron pong drug absorption na mechanism. So ito po yung list natin ng table para makita po natin yung mechanism, yung mga prototype drugs, and yung mga immunoglobulin classes po. So for immune complex, we have quinidine and phenacetin. Drug absorption, we have penicillin, streptomycin, and cephalosporin. Membrane modification, we have cephalosporin, and methyl dopa. In those, we have methyl dopa or aldomet. So again, balikan natin yung number 72 kanina, yung ating methyl dopa. Yan po yung medication that is most likely to cause production of autoantibodies. Nagpo-produce po ito ng autoantibodies, yung ating methyl dopa. Number 74. So occasionally, patients have an anaphylactic reaction to a specific immunoglobulin class during a transfusion. So which immunoglobulin class is most often implicated? So IgA, IgD, IgE, or the IgG. So for number 74, the correct answer would be letter A po. We have the IgA. Yan po yung associated with anaphylactic reaction na immunoglobulin. So kanina, di ba, nadaanan natin yung anaphylactic or anaphylactoid, yung number 69. Di ba ang question doon, yung transfusion reaction occurs after infusion of only a few milliliters of blood pero wala pong history ng fever. Yan nga po yung anaphylactic. So ngayon pa lang natin madidiscuss na yung number 69. So for that, for number 69, yan nga po yung ratio natin, itong number 74 na question. We have anaphylactic or anaphylactoid transfusion reaction. Anaphylactic or anaphylactoid. Anaphylactic or anaphylactoid transfusion reaction. So it is attributed to IgA deficiency. IgA deficiency or absolute IgA deficiency. Absolute IgA deficiency. So again, anaphylactic or anaphylactoid transfusion reaction attributed to IgA deficiency or absolute IgA deficiency. And yung IgA levels less than 0.05 milligrams per deciliter in patients who have developed an anti-IgA antibodies by sensitization from transfusion or pregnancy. So ito yung mga signs and symptoms, bronchoconstriction. So nagkakaroon ng constriction ng bronchioles, angioedema. We have gastrointestinal symptoms such as diarrhea, cardiovascular instability. So makikita nyo po sa anaphylactic natin or anaphylactoid transfusion reaction, so involved po yung mga vital organs natin such as the lungs, kasi nagkakaroon ng bronchoconstriction, nagkakaroon ng cardiovascular instability, yung heart natin is possible din na maapektuhan. And yung anaphylaxis po na pwedeng i-cause ng anaphylactoid or anaphylactic transfusion reaction can range from mild urticaria or hives and rhinitis to severe shock or death. So same lang po ito, same lang siya with the allergic transfusion reaction na pwede siyang mag-range from urticaria or hives to severe shock or death. Yan po yung number 74 question natin. Number 75. So what is the component of choice for patients with chronic granulomatous disease? So itong CGD na discuss na rin natin to sa immunology and serology before sa part ng phagocytosis. Natatandaan po ba si chronic granulomatous disease na meron po itong deficiency of NADPH oxidase. Bumababa po yung levels ng NADPH oxidase. So kapag mababa po ang levels ng NADPH oxidase, so ano po yung naapektuhan na part ng phagocytosis? Initiation ba, chemotaxis, engulfment, or digestion? So sa chronic granulomatous disease, nagkakaroon po ng problem sa digestion. Okay? Ang problem po sa CGD is nasa digestion na part. May problem sa digestion. Kasi nga, sa chronic granulomatous disease, na-engulf naman yung microorganism. So normal yung engulfing, nakakain naman niya, pero hindi niya napapatay. So bakit hindi napapatay ni neutrophil yung mga microorganism? Kasi nga po, wala siyang enzyme na NADPH oxidase. Yung NADPH oxidase, responsible po yun for the metabolism of microorganism para ma-metabolize yung mga ingested po na microorganism inside the neutrophil. So again, sa chronic granulomatous disease, nakakain, na-engulf, pero hindi po napapatay yung microorganism. So again, sa chronic granulomatous disease, ang usual po na infected na cell is yung mga phagocyte po natin such as neutrophil. So ano po yung component of choice for this one? The answer is we have letter B, granulocytes. Kasi po ang neutrophil, yan po yung most commonly affected na cell when it comes to chronic granulomatous disease. Di ba ang neutrophil, example po ito ng granulocyte. Di ba example po yan ng granulocyte. So yun po yung kailangan nating ibigay doon sa mga patient na may chronic granulomatous disease. Kasi magkakaroon po ng bacterial infection if ever hindi sila mabibigyan ng granulocyte concentrate. So we have granulocyte paresis. Ang tawag po natin dito is granulocyte paresis. So granulocyte paresis, ang indication po niyan, patient with granulocyte dysfunction or myeloid hypoplasia who are unresponsive to antibiotics. So ang storage po niyan is room temperature. Room temperature without agitation. Okay? Room temperature without agitation. Yan po yung ating storage for granulocyte paresis. Room temperature with agitation. Di ba yung platelets, room temperature din po siya, pero may agitation. Again, platelets, room temperature with agitation. Granulocyte paresis, room temperature without agitation. So ano po ang shelf life? 24 hours lang. 24 hours. Pero ano po ang shelf life natin for the platelets kapag room temperature with agitation? Sige nga po, ano po ang shelf life ng platelets natin kapag room temperature with agitation? Sige po, kayo po yung maghanap ng answer. Okay, next, number 76. So which of the following best reflects the discrepancy seen when a person's red cell demonstrated the acquired B phenotype? So forward grouping, reverse grouping, ayan po yung mga choices natin. A, BO, C, B, ABA, C, O, B, o letter D, B, and AB. So nakatapat na po yung kanilang forward and reverse typing po nila. So ano raw po dito yung best reflects the discrepancy seen when a patient or when a person's red cell demonstrated the acquired B phenomenon. So for this one, the correct answer would be letter B po. We have forward grouping AB and reverse grouping A. Kasi po yung ating mga acquired B phenotype yung mga taong may acquired B, mga group A po talaga sila. Pakitandaan, group A talaga sila. Pero nagkakaroon po ng mistyping sa kanilang forward grouping. Nagkakaroon po ng mistyping sa kanilang forward grouping, kaya nagiging group AB po sila. Again, yung ating mga acquired B antigen, group A po talaga sila. Kaya sa reverse, kapag chinek natin yung reverse grouping, type A sila. Pero kapag forward grouping, nagiging AB. Kasi nagkakaroon ng interference sa ibang mga substances or infection na mayroon po yung isang tao. For example, we have here the acquired B antigen. Acquired B antigen. So sa acquired B antigen, so associated condition po nito is yung EPIC. So ano po yung EPIC? So yung E. coli 086 infection, Proteus vulgaris, intestinal infection, and carcinoma of the colon. So again, yung ating acquired B antigen, yung mga taong may acquired B antigen, it only occurs on group A individual. Kaya kapag sa forward typing, AB sila. Pero kapag ni-reverse typing natin, A naman sila. Group A naman sila. So ano po ba yung nangyayari doon? Di ba sa group A, ano nga po ulit yung sugar na immunodominant po sa ating group A? We have N-acetyl D-galactosamine. Yan po yung sugar na makikita po natin sa mga group A. And yung mga microorganism po na to, nagpo-produce po sila ng deacetylase. Deacetylase. Yung deacetylase na yan, inaalis po yung N-acetyl doon sa ating N-acetyl D-galactosamine. So natitira po yung ating D-galactosamine. Natitira na lang yung D-galactosamine. And yung D-galactosamine na yan, similar doon sa may D-galactose ng ating B individual. Kaya kapag nagkaroon tayo ng forward typing, nagpa-positive din doon sa B, kaya nagiging AB. Kasi instead na N-acetyl D-galactosamine lang yung ma-detect ng ating mga reagents natin, na-detect lang yung D-galactosamine. And yung D-galactosamine na yan, similar siya doon sa D-galactose ng mga B individual. So yun po yung reason kung bakit siya nagiging AB, no? Kasi aside sa N-acetyl D-galactosamine, meron ding D-galactosamine na na-detect dahil po sa enzyme na deacetylase. Yan po yung nangyayari sa mga acquired B individual. What about sa acquired A naman po? Sa mga acquired A antigen, so nai-report ang mga acquired A's in persons of type O naman and type B. So again, yung acquired B antigen sa mga group A, yung acquired A sa mga type O and type B in association with severe infection caused by Proteus mirabilis. Pakitandaan, kapag acquired B antigen, Proteus vulgaris. Kapag naman po Proteus mirabilis, acquired A phenomenon. Acquired A phenomenon. So yun po yung difference ni acquired A and acquired B antigen. Question number 77. So to validate the reaction obtained in the anti-globulin test, one can use green anti-globulin reagent, add IgG-coated red cell to each test tube. C. Add IgG-coated red cell to each positive reaction. Or letter D. Add IgG-coated red cell to each negative reaction. For number 77, we have letter D po. Add IgG-coated red cell to each negative reaction. So ito pong IgG coated red cell, ito po yung tinatawag nating check cells or the comb cell. Yan po ano yung ating check cells or the comb cell. So again, di ba sabi natin kanina, ang check cells or comb cells, ina-add po natin yan doon sa mga test na may negative reaction. So AHG reagent. So AHG is either monospecific or polyspecific. It's added to included in the test system as it allows for agglutination of incomplete antibodies. And any tube that is negative after adding the AHG reagent should be controlled by adding the Coombs control cells, which are group O, Rh positive, red blood cells that have been coated, with anti-D, So yan po ano yung ating check cell. So any tube that is positive, that is negative, after adding the AHG reagent should be controlled by adding Coombs control cells, which are group O Rh positive red blood cells that have been coated with the anti-D. So that's it for our AHG reagent. Okay, number 78. So an iron chelating agent, which is important in lowering the body iron stores of patients with thalassemia. Okay, for this one, the correct answer, we have deferoxamine. Deferoxamine po ano yung ginagamit natin iron chelating agent that is important in lowering the body iron stores sa mga patient po ano na mayroong thalassemia. Okay, yung desmopressin, ginagamit natin to as an antidiuretic. Antidiuretics po ito, no? Yung ating desmopressin. Then yung aspirin, example po ito ng anti-platelet drug. Okay? Aspirin, example yan ng anti-platelet drug. Okay, number 79. So for autologous blood donation, blood should be drawn from the donor, from the patient within blank. So ito parang naulit lang, no? Skip na natin to. We have 72 hours. Naulit lang po siya. Number 80. So cryoprecipitated antihemophilic factor is not recommended for the treatment of hemophilia A, hemophilia B, von Willebrand disease, or hypofibrinogenemia. Okay, for number 80, the correct answer would be hemophilia B. So ano po ba yung deficient na factor kapag may hemophilia B ang isang pasyente? Di ba? Factor 9. So factor 9. Di ba sabi natin kanina, the recommended blood product for factor 9 deficient patient is the prothrombin complex. The prothrombin complex. So that's the recommended blood product for factor 9 deficient patient. So prothrombin group is composed of factors 2, 7, 9, and 10. Pakitandaan po ano yan po yung mga vitamin K dependent group po natin. And for the cryoprecipitate is recommended for the treatment of hemophilia A. So hemophilia A is factor 8 deficiency, von Willebrand disease, and hypofibrinogenemia. So hypofibrinogenemia, factor 1 deficiency naman po yan. So factor 1 deficiency. And for cryoprecipitate, so cryoprecipitate. So yung indication po ng ating cryoprecipitate for treatment of fibrinogen deficiency Hemophilia A. Di ba hemophilia A is decreased factor 8, von Willebrand disease, and factor 13 deficiency. So yung isang cryoprecipitate, it contains 80 units of anti-hemophilic factor and 150 to 250 milligrams of fibrinogen. Yan po yung ating cryoprecipitate. 80 units of anti-hemophilic factor and 150 to 250 milligrams of fibrinogen. And for the storage, negative 18 degrees Celsius, and shelf life is 1 year. The shelf life for this one is 1 year. So again, cryoprecipitate, the storage is negative 18 and the shelf life is 1 year. Okay, question number 81. So what ABO type may donate to any other ABO type? So parang ang tinatanong dito is the universal donor. So ano daw po dito yung universal donor? For this number, the correct answer would be letter B. We have O negative. Diba yung universal donor natin is the type O, and the universal recipient naman po, we have the type AB. Universal donor is the O, and universal recipient is the type AB. So number 82. So which of the following is usually employed to start an IV liner prior to blood transfusion? Okay, normal saline, Ringer's lactate, 5% dextrose in water, or number 4, distilled water. For number 82, the correct answer would be letter A, one only. So one only. So yung Ringer's lactate, meron po kasi tong calcium. Hindi po pwedeng gamitin yung ating Ringer's lactate to start an IV liner prior to blood transfusion. Bakit? Kasi yung ating Ringer's lactate, it contains calcium. Meron siyang calcium that promotes coagulation. It promotes coagulation. While itong 5% dextrose in water and distilled water, hindi rin sila pwedeng gamitin since they are hypotonic. They are hypotonic. Yung ating 5% dextrose in water and distilled water. They are hypotonic. So yung pwede lang pong gamitin, to start an IV liner prior to blood transfusion is the normal saline. So again, for the IV fluids, we have NSS, the normal saline solution, the only fluid allowed to start an IV line prior to transfusion. And yung 5% dextrose in water and Ringer's lactate, so itong 5% dextrose in water, not allowed to start. Kasi nga po, hypotonic po ito. So magkakaroon ng hemolysis once na gamitin natin yung 5% dextrose and water. And yung Ringer's lactate naman, hindi rin siya pwedeng gamitin to start kasi nga po it contains calcium that promotes coagulation. Number 83. So low-reduced filters can do all of the following except. So A, reduce the risk of cytomegalovirus infection, prevent or reduce the risk of HLA alloimmunization, prevent febrile non-hemolytic transfusion reaction, or letter D, to prevent transfusion-associated graft versus host disease. So for number 83, the correct answer po would be letter D, prevent transfusion-associated graft versus host disease. So low-reduced filters, so ginagamit natin yan para maalis yung ating mga leukocytes. So yung first indication kung bakit natin ginagamit yung mga leukoreduced filters is to reduce the risk of cytomegalovirus infection. Kasi po ang CMV, nakatira sila sa mga white blood cells. Prevent or reduce the risk of HLA alloimmunization and prevent the febrile non-hemolytic transfusion reaction. So again, kapag gagamitin po natin na yung mga leukoreduced filters, dapat po 85% ng red blood cell yung ma-retain. Okay? Ma-retain dapat yung 85% ng mga cells po natin, ng mga red blood cells. Yung transfusion-associated graft versus host disease, nabanggit naman na natin, di ba? Ginagamitan po natin yan ng irradiated blood. Okay? Yung irradiated blood, so ini-inactivate po nito yung mga lymphocytes naman, mga lymphocytes. Number 84. So what is the most common parasitic complication of transfusion? So Babesia microti, Trypanosoma cruzi, Plasmodium species, or Toxoplasma gondii. For number 84, the correct answer is Plasmodium species. So pakitandaan that Plasmodium falciparum, ito yung worldwide. Kapag naman Plasmodium vivax, ito yung common sa, Plasmodium falciparum is for the Philippines. And Plasmodium vivax, ito naman yung most common worldwide. Again, falciparum, Philippines, and vivax worldwide. Number 85. So fatal transfusion reaction are most commonly caused by serological error, improper storage of blood, improper handling of the product, or letter D, clerical error. Okay, number 85, the correct answer would be letter D. We have clerical error. So fatal transfusion reaction are mostly caused by clerical errors. So clerical errors. So a major cause of transfusion associated fatalities is resulting in incorrect EBO grouping and transfusion of EBO incompatible blood. And clerical error is the greatest threat to safe transfusion therapy. And the most common cause of clerical error is the misidentification of the patient. Yan po ano yung most common cause ng clerical error. Number 86, the most common initial manifestation of a hemolytic transfusion reaction is A, shock, B, shortness of breath, C, fever, or letter D, bleeding. Number 86, the correct answer would be letter C. We have fever. Yan po yung most common initial clinical manifestation po ng hemolytic transfusion reaction. And yung fever po na yan, it is usually accompanied by chills. Number 87. Malapit na po tayong matapos. So what may be found in the serum of a person who exhibits signs of TRALI or transfusion-related acute lung injury? So, red blood cell alloantibodies ba? IgA antibody? Anti-leukocyte antibody, or allergen? So for number 87, the correct answer would be anti-leukocyte antibodies. So TRALI is associated with antibodies po to human leukocyte antigen, or particularly yung mga neutrophil antigen, which react with patient granulocyte and cause acute respiratory insufficiency. So yun po yung nangyayari no sa ating TRALI. Meron pong anti-leukocyte antibody. So sa TRALI po ang associated na organ na affected po is the lung. Kaya nga tinawag natin transfusion-related acute lung injury. Number 88 naman. So, the laboratory assay of brain natriuretic peptide may be used in the diagnosis of blank. So, TRALI, febrile non-hemolytic transfusion reaction, TACO, or iron overload. So, for this one, the correct answer po we have TACO. Okay, itong BNP or brain natriuretic peptide. So recall question na po ito sa ating clinical chemistry. So yung brain natriuretic peptide, ginagamit natin to as a marker for the diagnosis of congestive heart failure, CHF. So kung yung test na ginagamit natin is brain natriuretic peptide, dapat yung condition na pipiliin natin dito is associated din sa heart. So letter A, TRALI. Saan po ba associated ang TRALI? Di ba? Sabi natin kanina sa lungs. Kasi nga TRALI stands for transfusion related acute lung injury. So ito pong TACO, ito yung associated with the heart. Kasi TACO stands for transfusion associated circulatory overload. Circulatory overload. So yun ba ibig sabihin ng TACO? Transfusion associated circulatory overload. So circulatory. So ibig sabihin associated po sa heart yung ating TACO. So yun po yung correlation ng TACO ng brain natriuretic peptide at congestive heart failure. So again, ginagamit po natin for the diagnosis ng TACO or transfusion-associated circulatory overload yung ating brain natriuretic peptide na ginagamit din natin as a marker for diagnosis of congestive heart failure. Okay, next, number 89. So what is the class of immunoglobulin uniquely associated with the hemolytic disease of the fetus and newborn? So number 89, the correct answer is letter D. We have IgG. Di ba sabi natin before doon sa ating immunology discussion? So yung ating IgG is the only immunoglobulin that can cross the placenta. The only immunoglobulin that can cross the placenta is the immunoglobulin G. So, kaya ito po yung nagkukos ng hemolytic disease of the fetus and newborn. Number 90. So, acute transfusion reaction, signs or symptoms presenting during or within blank hours of transfusion. So, within 4 hours, within 24 hours, within 48, or within 72 hours. So for number 19, the correct answer would be letter B. We have 24 hours. So within 24 hours po yung number 90. So meron tayong iba't ibang classifications po depende po sa bilis ng paglabas ng signs and symptoms. Meron tayong immediate and delayed. And under ng immediate, we have immunologic, and non-immunologic. So, ganun din po sa delayed. Meron tayong immunologic and non-immunologic. So, for immediate immunologic, we have immediate hemolytic transfusion reaction. We have febrile non-hemolytic transfusion reaction. We have allergic or anaphylactic transfusion reaction, and the TRALI, the transfusion-related acute lung injury. Yan po yung ating mga immunologic. Immediate, hemolytic transfusion reaction, febrile non-hemolytic transfusion reaction, allergic or anaphylactic, and we have the TRALI. And for the non-immunologic, so for the non-immunologic, we have the TACO. Next, we have bacterial contamination. Bacterial contamination. So under po ng immediate non-immunologic yung ating TACO. And for delayed immunologic, we have post-transfusion purpura, the transfusion-associated graft versus host disease, and we have the delayed hemolytic transfusion reaction. And for delayed non-immunologic, we have transfusion-associated hemosiderosis and disease transmission. Okay, number 91. A woman begins to breathe. A woman begins to breathe rapidly while donating blood. So choose the correct course of action. So napaisip pa ako dun kung ano ba yung correct na pronunciation for that. So a woman begins to breathe rapidly while donating blood. So choose the correct course of action. So continue the donation. So rapid breathing is not a reason to continue a donation. So withdraw the needle, raise her feet, and administer ammonia. Letter C, discontinue the donation and provide a paper bag. Or letter D, tell her to sit upright and apply a cold compress to her forehead. So for number 91, the correct answer would be letter C, discontinue the donation and provide a paper bag. Yan po yung gagawin natin. So a woman begins to breathe rapidly. So ang nangyayari po kasi dito is nagkakaroon ng hyperventilation. Nag-hyperventilate po yung isang pasyente. So kapag nag-hyperventilate ng isang patient, bumababa po yung levels ng carbon dioxide. Kasi hihinga-hinga po yung pasyente, bababa yung levels ng carbon dioxide. So kapag bumaba po yung carbon dioxide ng pasyente, magkakaroon po ng respiratory alkalosis. Di ba napag-aralan po natin to sa ating acid-base balance sa clinical chemistry. So pag nagkaroon po ng or bumaba po yung levels ng carbon dioxide, so magkakaroon po ng respiratory alkalosis. So para ma-prevent po yung respiratory alkalosis, kailangan po nating mag-provide ng paper bag. So before tayo mag-provide ng paper bag, make sure na hugutin na po natin yung needle. Hugutin na po yung needle, and mag-provide po ng paper bag. So by providing paper bag, so hindi po mawawala or hindi po magdi-decrease yung levels ng carbon dioxide ng ating pasyente. So again, a paper bag should be provided sa ating mga donor to breathe into in order to increase the carbon dioxide in the donor's air. Yun po yung purpose ng ating paper bag. Number 92, the most serious hemolytic transfusion reaction are due to incompatibility in which of the following blood group systems? Most serious hemolytic transfusion reaction, we have the ABO blood group system. So please take note of this. Most severe hemolytic transfusion reaction is the ABO. Most common na hemolytic transfusion reaction is the ABO pa din. And the most severe hemolytic disease of the newborn is the RH, and the most common hemolytic disease of the fetus and newborn is the ABO blood group system. Again, most severe, the HTR. Most common hemolytic transfusion reaction, ABO. Most severe HDN, RH, and most common HDN is the ABO blood group system. Number 93. So T activation is a form of polyagglutination that is caused by microorganisms that produce blank as a result of metabolic byproducts. So for number 93, we have neuraminidase. Neuraminidase po yung for number 93. So ito po yung ating mga iba't ibang substances and yung mga form po ng polyagglutination. For example, we have T, polyagglutination. T polyagglutination. So associated po ito with neuraminidase, which is produced by bacteria such as Pneumococci, Clostridium perfringens, and Vibrio cholerae, and viruses such as influenza. We have TH, polyagglutination. Kayo na lang po yung magsulat ng polyagglutination. Basta after ng mga letters na to, may kasunod na polyagglutination. TH polyagglutination, weaker neuraminidase. We have Clostridia, bacteroids, E. coli, and Proteus. We have TK polyagglutination, so endo-beta galactosidases and exo-beta galactosidases. Pinoproduce po yan ng mga bacteroids fragilis, Serratia marcescens, we have A. niger, and Candida albicans. And next, we have the TX. TX polyagglutination, unidentified bacterial or viral infection. Next, we have acquired polyagglutination. Acquired polyagglutination, ito nga po yung deacetylase. Yung pinoproduce po ni E. coli and Proteus vulgaris na nagkakos ng, ano po yung kinokos ni E. coli and P. vulgaris? Acquired B phenomenon. Nagkakos po ito ng acquired B phenomenon, yung ating E. coli and P. vulgaris. Kaya nga po tinawag sila na acquired polyagglutination. And next, we have the VA, polyagglutination. So microbial fucosidase enzyme and depressed H antigen. And the next one, we have the TN polyagglutination. Mutation in the hematopoietic tissue. Nagkakaroon po dito ng clone of cells that lack the B3D galactosyl transferase. Okay, question number 94. So patients with in vivo polyagglutination should be give transfusion of A, whole blood, B, packed cells, C, wash red blood cells, or letter D, fresh frozen plasma. So for number 94, the correct answer would be wash red blood cells. So yun po yung binibigay natin sa mga patients na meron pong in vivo polyagglutination, wash red blood cells. 95. So when should quality control be performed on routine blood typing reagent? So yung quality control po natin dapat pine-perform natin yun sa ating mga anti-sera once daily. So as suggested po by AABB, red cell reagents, yung mga anti-sera, anti-globulin serum should have quality performed each day of use. Yung quality control po sa kanila should be performed each day of use. Okay, number 96. So this is a board exam question. So all of the following are routinely performed on a cord blood sample except forward ABO typing, antibody screening, RH typing, or DAT. So for this one, the correct answer is letter B, antibody screening. Kasi nga po nabanggit natin kanina na ang mga babies po, nagpo-produce pa sila ng antibodies 3 to 6 months after birth. So wala pong sense, no? Walang sense if itetest po natin yung ating cord blood sample for antibody screening. Kasi hindi naman po yung antibody ng baby yung madedetect natin. Yung madedetect natin doon is yung antibody nung mother. So hindi po routinely pine-perform no, yung cord blood sample antibody screening sa mga newborns po natin. Number 97. So the endpoint of the SPRCA is detected by agglutination, hemolysis, precipitation, or attachment of indicator cells. So for this one, the correct answer is attachment of indicator cells. So SPRCA stands for solid phase red cell adherence. Solid phase red cell adherence. Yan po ibig sabihin nun ng SPRCA. So yung technique po na to, no, ginagamit natin to mainly for cross-matching. So ginagamit natin yung technique na to mainly for cross-matching. And marami tayong iba't ibang mga methods na ginagamit no, for cross-matching. So ito pong agglutination, ito po yung end product naman ng GelTec. Okay, ang end product po ng SPRCA or solid phase red cell adherence is attachment of indicator cells. Ang endpoint naman ng ating GelTec is the SPRCA. So speaking of GelTec, so ma-add ko lang to no, GelTec. Kasi ito po yung pina-perform natin here in the Philippines, yung GelTec. Also known as the column agglutination technology. Or the CAT, CAT, column agglutination technology. So ito pong GelTec, na-imbento po ito ni Yves Lapierre. So it is invented by Yves Lapierre. And for GelTec, so kailangan po nating isentry no, yung ating sample for 10 minutes. Centrifugation of sample for 10 minutes. And kailangan natin tong i-incubate for 15 to 60 minutes. So again, centrifugation of 10 minutes and incubation of 15 to 60 minutes. Yan po yung ating additional information about GelTec, also known as the column agglutination technology. Pero meron po itong major na disadvantage. What is the major disadvantage of using gel technology? Nagkakaroon po ng sample restriction. There is a sample restriction kapag gumamit po tayo ng GelTec. And aside po doon, kailangan po natin gumamit ng mga special equipment. There is a need for special instrumentation or special equipment. Yan po yung major disadvantages of using gel technology by Yves Lapierre. And number 98. An advantage for both gel and solid phase technology is A. No cell washing steps, standardization, use of IgG-coated control cells, or letter D, specialized equipment. So for number 98, the correct answer would be letter B, standardization. Yan po naman yung advantage ng both gel and solid phase technology. And number 99, so blood banking laboratory information system password should be, so ito parang common sense naman to, no? This is also a board exam question. Board exam question. Sa board exam, no, marami po tayong mga common sense na question. At isa sa mga common sense na question na yun is ito pong question number 99. So blood banking laboratory information system should be strictly kept confidential. So board exam question po ito. Ganun din yung question number 100. This is also a board exam question. So which is not a component of the blood bank information system? So the people, the validation, hardware, or the software. So for number 100, the correct answer would be letter B, validation po. Hindi po part ng blood bank information system ang validation. So ang part po nun is the people, the hardware, and the software. So ito po yung ating mga system components po. The first one, we have the hardware. The second one, we have the software. And the last one, we have the people. So hardware. Hardware components include a central system unit, sometimes referred to as the box, and several different peripheral devices that send or receive information to the system unit. Yung mga peripheral devices na yun, we have display terminals, yung keyboards, yung barcode readers, scanners, and wands, pointing devices such as mice, yung printers, and yung mga modems po natin. And sa mga software naman, ito nga yung ating mga ginagamit na mga apps such as yung LISCI, yung Laboratory Information System, o yung HIS, yung Hospital Information System. And for the people, the human components of a blood bank information system are the users. Ang people po ano yung gumagamit. And at least one person designated as the system manager. So ibig sabihin po ano ang system components in the blood bank, it includes the hardware, the software, and the people. And that concludes our discussion po ano for blood banking. So ito pa lang po ano yung first part. So meron pa tayong second part which is our mastery session. So again, if you have any concern, questions, correction, clarification about our discussion, don't hesitate to message me on my messenger account. And that's it. So thank you po for listening and have a good day.